Uh-oh, this is a custom TvT. I didn't read the rest of the name because Blizzard likes to truncate the name at a certain number of characters. But it says don't, and then there's other words. So if it's like don't say the word bean, then I'm going to fail at the request because I didn't read it. Didn't read it. Don't see what it said. So I don't remember. I mean, I remember that for a while you were trying the marine opening with marine fast expand into marine tank medevac, which is what I do. But I don't know if you're still doing that now. So we're just gonna have to see, man. We're just gonna have to see. There's no gas, so it does look like you're probably doing that. Yep. Here comes Fast Expo with several marines and another Rex. Only 3 racks instead of 4, and you have a bunker, but you have your marines in front of the bunker. You want them behind it. You're not getting any researches. You did throw down double gas, got an eBay. And lots of marines. Factory, 3rd gas. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about your infantry size, because if he attacks you with a $2,000 army at 8 minutes, you need 1,500 to survive, and I think you don't have that. Yeah, but you're only a little bit shy. So there's a reason that the super fast expandy builds tend to be really heavy on the racks, like 4 racks or 3 racks with immediate add-ons. And that's because you can't be waiting for tech if you start the tech super late because you got your gas late. Then if he has his stim and medevacs 2 minutes before you have your stim and medevacs, the only way for you to survive that is to have a much larger army size. So we're going to use army size to make up for the fact that we're late on tech. So you can never open no gas and then try to sprint to tech, because no matter how fast you get it, it's never going to be as fast as someone who's opened with gas. So try to spend as high a percentage of your money on army as possible. And you are still pretty much keeping up on marines and stuff, but using these racks constantly, very important when you open no gas. Open gasless. Hello. Ooh. April Kepner.
Complete.
So we've seen nothing from the bad guy. He seems to have fast expanded too, but you don't know that. You're just like massing marines in the middle. And if you're gonna mass marines in the middle, put them on the watchtower, man. Not having that watchtower is so silly. I like to push out with my 4th medevac instead of my 2nd one, because you can't pick up your whole army with 2 medevacs. You can only pick up about a third of it. So now you're basically stuck walking across the ground. But it's better to be, it's better to be doing what you're doing than not to push out at all. Because remember, in TvT, everything is as fast as everything else, so you can always get away. Almost always. I mean, if you're forced to stim and run away, you might lose your medevacs unless you remember to run them away over a cliff or something. But in general, you can always get away. So both of you had a crap ton of workers. You must not be in the Silver League anymore, because for your opponent to have 48 workers at 10 minutes is really impressive. I think you did say that you were promoted to gold, so congratulations. Your army is huge, much bigger than his. You've got 2, 4. Again, you make a 2nd engineering bay, but if you don't make the armory, you're not going to be using both of them. So this has been a problem in lots of games I've seen of yours, where you're like, I need double ups, and you get 2 engineering bays, but then you only use one of them, or you use neither of them, or you get the late armory and can't use them both. Remember, you're on a limited gas supply, so this uses 2 geysers. This uses 1.5 geysers. And this uses about half a geyser. So you probably can afford to double upgrade with the route you've chosen, but not while also getting combat shields and siege mode, and you just don't have enough gas for all the things that you put down. So it's not surprising that this is staying idle. You also didn't hotkey the 2nd engineering bay with your command center. So you're doing way better than your opponent on army size and income, but the vulnerability here is that he's going double upgrades and actually using both engineering bays, and he actually has all of his upgrades for his infantry, and he's getting out medevac. So when you guys engage, it kind of comes down to luck here. If you're 0-1 against 2-2, then you're gonna lose, but if you're not, then you're gonna do fine. And that's, you know, that's a risk that you play in not going double ups. If you're the one going double ups, then worst case, he attacks you right before your upgrades finish and you guys are even when you wanted to be ahead. But if you're not, then you risk sometimes being behind. So he really should have waited. He's just starting these upgrades. It's silly to attack now. His army is smaller than yours. I don't think he meant to do this. I think he was just going to take his watchtower and you caught him out in the open field, and that's really good luck. And he's doing this drop in the backfield while he tries to take the watchtower and whatever, but that was just really lucky for you. Whenever you clearly have a huge advantage in a fight like that, you should chase him. You should keep going forward. Especially, oh, you don't have siege mode. But especially with medevacs here. I think you can drop there. I'm not sure. Anyway, just sitting here with your army kind of bugs me. So here he's dropping on your third, and your income is starting. You're basically keeping up with him on workers. You guys are both constantly producing workers, and that's great. But it looks like you've cut workers because you're not going to get a third, and you already have max saturation on 2 base. And when you cut workers, this is a vulnerability. He'll take 3 Marines and completely kill all of your workers. Okay, I'm joking. You should never lose that much to 3 Marines. Look at this. 7 kills, 8 kills, 10 kills. It's because you had a fight going on at the same time, I think. But still, in TvP, if he drops zealots on you, like, they're going to kill workers but not super quick. In TvZ, if he does a Ling run by, they're going to kill some workers but not super quick. But in TvT, stim Marine drops, they will just rip you up. You can lose every single worker in like a second. So that was bad. But you know, nothing I say can make you better at dealing with drops. One thing worth mentioning is that when he dropped on this third, you know he has a double medevac drop at your base. So just rally your stuff to your natural and be prepared to defend against it, man. Like, you had a lot of warning is what I'm saying. You should have been able to deal with that. And you never want to base trade in... I don't know if never is the right term, but if you know he's doing a drop and you have this army in the middle of the field, just go home and defend against it. It just seems silly to attack right now. Because look, you're getting a terrible arc here. You're jamming yourself up through this. This is like really bad. Because only like 3 of your dudes can shoot right now, whereas his whole army can shoot. And look how small his army is relative to yours. Your army is way bigger. And you guys are, you're not 1-1 yet, but, and you're not even working on 1-1 or 2. Like, again, double upgrades, but you're not using them. Still no armory, still no +1 armor. Just very bad on the upgrade front. Anyway, this is 2 pages of infantry, and this is less than 1 page of infantry. So you should easily win this fight. And the angle of attack is just really wrong. So you're watching the fight even though you know stuff is dying. And if you don't know stuff is dying, then the solution there is just turn your volume up, man, because the chick yells at you. She's like, you're being attacked. Oh my god, your workers are dying. There's something bad going on. And if your volume is too low to hear that, then I've lost games due to that before. Like, but the solution there is just turn up your volume. So this was never going to work at his front. You had a reasonably large army, but you never got siege mode, and you only have 2 medevacs, and you haven't really been getting upgrades. I feel like you've spent more on your army, but unsiegeable tanks just don't work in TvT. They're so terrible because the primary unit of TvT is Marines, so the tanks do versus non-armored damage, which is very little. And he killed so many workers back here at your base that was kind of so. I loved it, man. You did a great job with this build. You had a pretty reasonably large army at 10 minutes. You could have had a lot more, but it's not the end of the world to have a pretty small army in TvT. Just because Marines are so good against everything that you can usually, especially if you have stim completed, you can usually get by. I would like to see later tanks. Don't make any tanks until at like 12 minutes. And earlier 4 medevacs and earlier upgrades and an earlier armory, because you have a very limited amount of gas on two bases. You just only have so much gas coming in, and until you've finished stim and combat shields and you've started 2-2 and you have 4 medevacs, you don't have the gas for tanks. So don't make a single tank until those other criteria are met. That's how I play it, that because the most important thing to me is to be up on infantry upgrades and to have the medevacs so that I can go do a doom drop and win the whole game. If you prefer tank play, then don't get the second engineering bay, and you still no matter what you're doing, if you're on 3 racks, you need stim and combat shields done as quick as possible. But yeah, very minor things that I didn't like. So you made a ton of workers, you made a ton of army, you kept your money low most of the time, you did a good job of making enough production infrastructure. Your saturation balance is quite good. You have almost exactly the same number of units at each base. You made your third at a reasonable time, although I would have liked to see you build it over here and float it, because in TvT drops and even just sending a guy around the top is so common. And then if you'd had siege mode, I think you would have won right there, And so this really just came down to not enough medevacs. Medevacs are really important when you're doing marine-based play. Because if you don't have enough medevacs to lift up all your marines, you can't really win. So I don't even think you needed any advice from this game. I think this was more of a, like, look, I lost to a drop because I just didn't see it. Like, he dropped 3 marines. You could have killed 3 marines with the 700 marines you had in your base and lost no workers. I think that was just bad luck. You didn't see the drop. And, work on seeing the drop and especially hearing the drop. It's really important to have your volume loud enough so that you can hear the trick say that you're under attack. And if you hadn't built this third in place, if you'd built it over here, then it would have finished and you would have been able to float it down there. So yeah, just really bad luck. I assume that from here he's just going to go siege up tanks in front of your... Okay, yep, here we go. So he even pulled workers, just going to stim and go with his 2-2 upgrades versus your 1-1. He's got an upgrade advantage. And because Marines fire quickly and have low health, those two things combine to make upgrades crazy important in Marine versus Marine engagements. You get some tanks sieged up, but they weren't sieged before the fight, so that's terrible. And even if they had been, his army is just massively bigger than yours because you kind of suicided your army over his base. So yeah, definitely should have gone home when you noticed that you were being dropped. Definitely should have moved your SCVs away when you saw that you were being dropped. Definitely should have noticed as soon as he hit your third CC that you were getting dropped. Probably should have built the CC in place, but those are all really minor tweaks. Those are the types of mistakes that you're expected to make. You're not supposed to win 100% of your games. So this was really good play. Good job. See ya.